I'm Brittney Saunders and welcome to Big Business, the place where business is far from boring. And today, I'm joined by a special guest and this is a bonus episode. I thought I would drag one of my OG employees on the pod. Welcome, April!
Thanks for having me.
Insert a massive applause. Woo. Is this your first time ever being on a podcast?
Yes, obviously.
How do you feel?
Excited.
You listen to so many podcasts and now you're going to be able to listen to your own episode.
I listened to all your podcasts and now it's going to be my voice.
I thought it would be good to get April on for a bonus episode because April has been with me at FAYT from what feels like the very beginning of FAYT. It wasn't technically. You've been with me for over 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I've said this before in a lot of my episodes, but for me, like the first 2-ish years of FAYT, I always see it as like a trial period, you know, when I got my first little warehouse. But you were there essentially when we first moved into that big building where we had our FAYT store downstairs and the office was upstairs and the warehouse. I feel like that's where FAYT began and that's where you came into the picture. Mm-hmm. So it feels like you've been with me forever, and one of the cool things is you have been with me as FAYT has grown. Like when you came on board, we were really small, and then look where we are now, and you've seen it all. So I thought we could start out by talking through your career journey at FAYT. Maybe give us because I've got a little story that I like telling too, but give us an overview of what roles you've done in FAYT over the last 3+ years.
Okay, so I applied for a role at FAYT through Seek as the social media assistant, but I actually didn't get it.
Which was so sad. And I remember this was back when I was doing all the interviewing and everything, and this was our first time ever hiring someone to be a social media assistant because for those first couple of years it was just me doing all the content. And then we finally got to that point where I was like, I think I'll get someone to help. And we had, I think, 5 or 6 of you come through on the one day, and we did back-to-back interviews all day in our office, and I really liked you and I really liked Kim, who is also still with us. And so I liked them both and I wanted to give them both the job, but obviously we couldn't. And Kim ended up getting the job. And
Kim got it over me.
I felt terrible. And I think the only thing that really came down to it was Kim had a tiny bit more experience in fashion. Mm-hmm. And the other thing was that I was really scared about, not that you can pick on someone for where they live, but April lived and still lives just over an hour away from our office. And because I was so new to hiring, I remember thinking, oh, she does live an hour away. Like, is she really going to want to drive an hour there and an hour home?
3.5 years later, I'm still doing the same
She's
drive.
She's still doing the drive. So we didn't give April that role, which was devastating, but it kind of worked out for you. What happened?
And then I didn't get the role, and then I got an email saying, hey, we'd love to jump on a call and offer you a different position. It's not the position you wanted, but there is always room for progression. And I actually got a warehouse assistant role, packing orders with AJ, and it was honestly so fun.
And I still remember the day that I sent you that email because I know in your interview you just really wanted to work at FAYT. Yeah. Like that was your whole thing, is you just really want to work at FAYT. Mm-hmm. And then we weren't packing that many orders every day, but we were getting a little bit busier. And I thought, well, we could get someone else in the warehouse. So then I emailed you and said, hey, let's jump on a call. And I said, look, you can say no to this job offer, but I wanted to offer it to you anyway, and it's in the warehouse. And you were just like, yes, yes. Like there was no hesitation.
No, I feel like that's a great tip for anyone that really wants to work somewhere. If you don't get the job, send an email saying, like, if any other positions do pop up, I'd love to be
considered.
Yeah. I sent that email and then I was considered for another role. And now look at me now.
Yeah, so after you worked in the warehouse, how long did you work there?
Honestly, not that long, probably a few months. And then I started helping out doing the socials with Kim.
Yeah, then Kim's role kind of changed.
Yeah.
And she went more into doing our email marketing and she took that off me. I was like, do you want to learn how to do this, Kim? She's like, sure.
Yeah.
So then April
ended up doing the job that I applied for anyway.
Exactly, and it was only a few months down the track. And then you did that for a while in our socials team.
Yep, I did social media assistant and then I got social media coordinator. And I did that for a few years, like 2 years probably. And then I got the PR and marketing role, which was so much fun. So working with our influencers, planning events, our campaign shoots. And now I am brand executive for Britt. So just working with Britt and helping her do all the fun stuff.
You're like my sidekick.
I am. I'm the little sidekick.
One of the craziest things is like you're obviously a great example in our company of career progression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, started in the warehouse and you've worked your way through, 4 different roles pretty much in 3+ years. And what's crazy is when you started with me, because FAYT was so new and I still didn't know what I was doing. Like, I'm embarrassed to look back at myself then, but I feel like that's all business owners. Like, you just start out and learn along the way. I never thought back then about career progression. Like, that was not a thought because our company was still so small. Like, I didn't even have that thought in my mind of, one day these girls are going to build careers with me. Like, at that stage, it was really people just coming to do jobs, you know, and it's just been crazy to see over the last 3 to 4 years, like how much a lot of you have really progressed, and that's something that we're now so big on. And there's so much career progression in our company, and now it's something that like I'm really passionate about. Like, I love seeing you girls kind of go from one role to another and work your way up kind of thing, and that's something that really excites me as a business owner. So it's been really cool to see and to think back to the beginning, and I never even thought that I'd have careers for people, and here we are.
Insane.
It's crazy. What's your favourite part about working at FAYT?
Everything. And like, I'm not just saying that, but everything is my favourite. We have the best team ever. We have the best customers ever. We have the best brand values. And we honestly we work so hard, but we have so much fun while doing it. And it literally feels like I never work a day in my life because I love what I do.
That's so good, Apes. I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't get to experience, and that's one thing that I'm really proud of as a business owner is like I want to be able to provide people with jobs that they genuinely do love. And sure, you might have some days where you're like, fuck, or like this sucks. No, you're there shaking your head.
I love it. Literally, I love my job. And I know how lucky I am to be able to say that. It's a good thing.
Hey, well, I'm glad to be able to provide that to you. Do you have a specific favourite memory?
I have a funny memory that I always can relate back on is when I worked in the warehouse with AJ, and because we were so little, we didn't even have barcodes on our products.
We were doing everything so wrong.
So wrong. So we decided, let's put barcodes on every single item in the warehouse. So it was a Saturday. I came in on a Saturday and we had to stick barcode labels on every single product in the warehouse. And by the end of it, we were literally... He was in one aisle, I was in the other, laying on the ground because we were dead, just sticking these labels on, and we're like, oh my God, but it's pretty funny.
Wow. The fact that we ever didn't have barcodes. For all you business owners out there, you'll get to a point if you do have physical products where you'll need barcodes, because for those first few years in our warehouse, we were just eyeballing everything. So customers would order 6 things, you'd go and manually pick those 6 things and then put them straight in the bag without like scanning, and you'd just be checking it yourself. Whereas it's obviously you don't need barcodes from the beginning, but when you are getting more orders and you want to eliminate those stuff-ups, barcodes are amazing, and it is fucked. You have to put them all on yourself if you've already got all your stock there with you kind of thing. Yep. And now like our manufacturers put the barcodes on for us. We provide them to them before they're shipped to us. But yeah, barcodes were a game changer for us, along with a lot of other things.
And then we went across the road and got a brownie slab from the bakery.
to celebrate barcodes. Do you have a least favourite memory from the last 3 to 4 years? I think I know one for you.
Oh, okay.
You should share the story about our Chermside store opening.
Oh, yes.
I feel like that's your least favourite memory.
So we were preparing to open our Chermside store. We had an amazing opening day planned.
And that was
And it was my baby. I did it all. Like, I invited everyone because we were having an event beforehand.
For influencers.
And I invited everyone. I arranged a claw machine with all FAYT products in it, and it was branded FAYT. What else did we have?
We had a DJ.
We had
florals.
We had florals.
We had a girl coming to do like soldered bracelets. Like we planned this massive event.
It was huge.
And 2 events, like the opening day and the influencer event.
The day before we opened, we let 10 customers come in and have a private shopping experience as well.
A giveaway. And we did like 30 goodie bags or something. Like that was all you. And we got all brands on board, like Bondi Sands, Quick Flick, like all these brands. So you orchestrated this whole grand opening for us.
And I worked so hard on it, and I was so excited. And then it got to the day before, and I was at work and I was so sick. And the girls were like, go home because you have to fly to Queensland tomorrow for the event. And I was like, no, I'm not going home. I have to, like, last minute things to do. I woke up the next day and I was not alive. I was so sick, and I still wanted to go, and even my mum said there is no way.
You were bawling your eyes out.
There was no way I could go, and I had all the
because this was last year, so this was like still like kind of post-COVID times when it's like you really can't travel if you're unwell.
You're sick. And I had some stuff in my. I think I had the work phones and stuff. So I had to meet AJ and Kim at the airport for when they were leaving, and I cried the whole way there. And Kim grabbed the phones off me and I was just bawling my eyes out. I was like, I want to come, but I can't.
So then we had to like do an emergency flight, and then Kim, who was not involved in any of this, then had to take over your job, and she came in your place. And because you were also doing all the content for the opening as well. So then we fully stopped Kim. Her whole week changed, and she came with us and was there for 3 days and did it.
And poor Kim, I have gotten a lot better, but I'm someone with content. I just like think of it and do it. So I didn't have a list of all the content I wanted to get. So Kim had to scramble and come up with ideas, and I felt horrible 2 ways because I felt bad and I felt sick.
Yeah, that was not a good time for you.
Horrible.
And then you would have had so much FOMO.
I had so much FOMO. I didn't even go on my socials because I was so upset seeing all the girls post. I was like, fuck off.
For all the people out there listening who are employers and they have staff, or they're a boss or a manager, or they're even looking at hiring for the first time, what would you say should be important to them when it comes to looking after their employees? Like, what is it that you think employers are looking for? Because if there's one thing, I think it's business owners don't appreciate their employees enough, or they take them for granted, or, you know, treat them like shit. So if someone's just say they're hiring their first ever employee, what do you think should be important to that business owner?
I think it's important to not only see them as like an employee, but as a person. Like, you've always take really good care of your staff. And I think it's also really important for business owners to give their staff the opportunity to grow within the business.
I think one of the hardest things with that as well, Apes, is being a business owner, and I know I've spoke about this on the pod before, is growing your business fast enough that your staff can grow with it. And I think that's where a lot of business owners would struggle, is they have these staff that are eager to grow and they're like, I want to progress with the company, I want to grow with the company, but then you've got to try and grow the company quick enough to keep up with that demand. So that's like another, I guess that's a different point of view from that. But I think that is really important, that people, you know, listen to their employees and give them opportunities and not just like push them into a corner and say that's your job and that's it. So great advice. For those listening, let's say they want to build a career specifically in a small business, what would your advice be to them? Like, what have you done?
Be passionate about the brand you work for. Like, I'm so beyond passionate about FAYT. I love everything we do, and I believe in what we do so wholeheartedly that it's easy for me. It was easy for me to grow because I was so committed, so enthusiastic, and I love my job.
People need to find a brand first that they want to grow in, kind of thing.
Find a job you love, and then you'll never work a day in your life, is what they say.
You heard it here first. Last question for you, April.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself and FAYT in 5 years?
World domination.
World domination. That's what we always say.
I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years because I feel like in FAYT, obviously, but I feel like
I'm going to come back in 5 years and see if you're actually still with me.
I'm going to still be by your side in this podcast room. I can tell you that right now. I reckon we'll be in New Zealand.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
You reckon we'll have a store there?
Yeah, I reckon we'll have a store in New Zealand 100%.
Wow.
I reckon we will have a lot of stores. I reckon we'll be the best. We already are the best brand, the best fashion brand. I reckon we'll still be killing our social media strategy. That's what we're good at. The last 3.5 years have been the best, and we've grown so much that I'm so excited to see where we are in the next 5.
I love that. I love that you and like everyone at FAYT, like I love how all of our staff refer to FAYT as we. Like there's never, you never say you and like FAYT apart from you. Like it's very much we.
Yeah, FAYT's my baby too.
Yeah, it's all of ours.
Yeah, it's our baby.
We love that. Well, Apes, thanks for coming on this bonus episode.
Thanks for having me.
You got a tip of the week for everyone?
Just smile when you're checking into a hotel.
And you might get an upgrade.
You might get an upgrade.
Perfect. Done.